Hello, and welcome to another Monday Moment in Matthew. I'm Caleb Ray, and this week we're moving finally into Matthew chapter 7, where we'll spend a few weeks finishing out the Sermon on the Mount. This week's topic is switching gears now from where our focus is, although in some ways focus is still applicable, to now some final comments and some final admonitions for us as listeners of this sermon. We're talking about judging this week, so I invite you to read along with me Matthew 7, 1 through 6. Judge not, that you be not judged. For with the judgment you pronounce, you will be judged, and with the measure you use, it will be measured to you. Why do you see the speck that is in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log that is in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, let me take the speck out of your eye, when there is the log in your own eye? You hypocrite! First take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. Do not give dogs what is holy, and do not throw your pearls before pigs, lest they trample them underfoot and turn to attack you. So this week, as I said, we're moving into more personal admonitions. While all of what Jesus has said has been a personal admonition to us, these are a little more direct. Here he's addressing the situation of hypocritical judging. Now, these verses are pretty commonly known, even amongst atheists, because they're a common passage to use to say that Christians are judging others. While that passage is not meaning that, there is some important lessons for us as Christians. One, we need to be careful that we are not judging another for their sin when we have our own sin glaring us in our face. We need to be careful that we are not personally trying to attack an individual or judge an individual. Judgment belongs to God. It is not your place. It is not my place. It is God's place to judge the hearts of man. I can speak out against sin, but I need to be careful not to do so when I'm trapped in sin myself, lest I be a hypocrite and my words be of no effect. You know, what use would it be for me to tell somebody that they're wrong when I'm not correcting what is wrong in my own life? Are they going to listen to that? Are they going to respond well to that? You know, it's like if you had a doctor who doesn't live very healthy, has a very unhealthy lifestyle, and they tell you that you need to lose weight and you need to do this and you need to do that because you're unhealthy. You're not likely to listen to them because they're not doing the exact thing they're telling you to do. If someone is judging, if someone is hypocritically judging when they have not taken care of their own problems and their own sin, one, nobody's going to listen. Two, they are doing a disservice to both God and to themselves. And three, they're in a way harming others. We need to be very careful that we approach people appropriately. Jesus, the way he interacted with people, you got to think about the crowds that are listening to this sermon. These are a lot of people who are distressed, who are dispirited, as he would call them in Matthew chapter 9. These are a lot of people that have illness, they have spiritual sickness. These are individuals that need care and concern. And if we're judging individuals like that, how effective are we going to be? And so we need to be careful, but we don't need to confuse this with saying that saying sin is judging. If I'm talking and speaking the Bible, and that happens to call something a sin, that's not judging. But when I decide if a person is holy or not, if I decide that a person is right with God or not, that's when I'm judging and taking God's place and putting it in my hand. So I need to be careful not to judge others. And I need to be careful because I don't want to be judged by the standard of man. I am glad that I serve a God who is gracious and merciful, that will forgive me of my sins and not hold them against me. But if I am holding sins towards another person, I need to be careful because God's going to repay me with the same type of judgment. So I need to be careful because if I'm measuring out an unfair standard to other individuals and judging them inappropriately, then I'm going to be judged in a similar fashion because of the sins that I've committed. And so I need to be very careful with how I interact and how I work with people on a day-to-day basis. Well, that's all for this week. I hope you'll join us again next week as we look at ask, seek, and knock, and how all three of them are important to the topic at hand. So join us again next week. I hope you have a blessed, wonderful rest of your week.